Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Credit Safe Webinars. It is my privilege each and every week to come and host these great webinars that give you content and education on credit safe products, on business culture, on things going on around the world in the B2B industry, credit industry type stuff. And it's just a lot of fun for me. My name is Nathan Call, and I'll be with you all day today, as most times. And today I have a special guest. Sierra Peterson is going to be with us. You can see her on your screen. And we're going to talk about her in just a minute. But before that, not until then, but before that, I want to let you know how you can interact with us. Whether you have a question about the topic, whether you have a question for me, for Sierra, whatever, we want you to be able to ask that. So the way you do that, at the bottom of the screen, there's two little text bubbles that say Q&A. Go ahead, type in your question. I will be monitoring them the entire time, the entire webinar. Now, I'm probably going to aggregate them and just put them all at the end and try and see if we have a bunch of questions that are similar or what have you. We tend to with a topic like what we're talking about today about how to read credit reports. But we want to make sure that everybody gets their question answered. There will be plenty of time at the end. Don't worry. I will be looking at all of them. And if it's something that's very specific to what's going on in the particular part of the presentation and the demo, then what I'm going to do is I'll break in and I'll interrupt Sierra and let her know, hey, we have a question just about this. Can you answer it real quickly? But if you don't see me doing that, just understand we will answer those at the end. But please, as they come to you, as those questions come to you, please just send them on in, and I'll be looking at them the entire time. But talking about Sierra's been with Credit Safe since October of 2017. She had graduated from Bloomsburg University with a bachelor's, and then got hired on with us here at Credit Safe and excelled from year one. She just killed it from year one, which was great to see. She works hard to make sure that she can find the right solution for each and every customer that she works with. And she currently works not only on the sales side, but also on training our sales folks. So on our new sales folks. So she's got kind of a dual role on new sales, and then also working with our new sales people to make sure that they offer that optimum service and opportunity for all of our amazing customers. And her big thing is just helping everybody get that knowledge and those skills and to grow constantly. She's always saying how, you can never know enough. You can never have enough information. Just keep on learning, keep on growing. And that's why she's here to help you today, is to do that. So hopefully I've done you some justice there, Sierra, and look forward to what you're gonna talk about today.
Thank you, Nathan. So why don't we get started then in reading a report. I want to say thank you to everybody as well for participating in this and just taking the time out of your day. Obviously, it's going to be very helpful, so I hope that you guys feel like you get a lot out of it. Going into the presentation, you will see that we're going to be talking about various aspects of credit reports. So let's go ahead and get started with that. All right, so there are, I'm not sure how many of you have seen a Credit Safe credit report before, or any credit report really, but there's a lot of different areas to review. With Credit Safe, we have the basic key information that we provide you. We're going to get into a little bit more on the actual trade, meaning similar to like references, what kind of payments companies are making to their vendors. We're going to get into legal filings like lawsuits, tax claims, all that kind of stuff, and how that's affecting the credit report as well, and company overall details, their history, as well as some other things if they're part of a group, things like that. Let's go ahead and start with the dashboard. All right. So when you guys are going to be looking at a credit report in our system, every time you pull one up, this is exactly the first thing that you will see. I love this because it's so easy on the eyes, and it's really easy right off the bat to kind of make a credit decision from there, or you can dig a little bit deeper into the company. And we will explore a little bit more into this as we go along. But the first thing I want to point your attention to at the top is the dashboard. So you're going to notice we have a couple different things here at the top. We have a risk score, we have an international score, we have the DBT, enhanced credit limit, all that good stuff. And I like to call these the vital signs of a company. Typically, you'll make your credit decision based off of these factors. as to whether or not you're going to be bringing on a company as a customer. So with that being said, you're going to notice that underneath all of those in that box there at the top, there's a color. We actually make our system very simple and easy to use. We don't want you to overthink it. We do all that work for you. So it's kind of like a stoplight. You can look at this and see green across the board and say, all right, I'm good to go. I can drive right on through and work with this company under these guidelines. You can see yellow or orange across the board, and that might tell you, maybe I want to look a little bit deeper into this company before really making a credit decision. And then if you see red, we're going to tell you stop. Don't work with that company. It's just like a stop sign. So that's really the easiest way to break it down. Personally, I like to look at it in a very simple terminology like that. And then underneath that, you're going to notice that there is some key information as well on the company. So the company we're going to be looking at today is actually a fake company. It's fun that the data team put together. So you'll see that we do include other legal names if they're there, the establishment date. Right off the bat, you can see a little bit about this particular company that you're going to be looking at. All right, so let's go ahead and get a little bit more into it and talk about the actual details that make up the credit report. So that first part of the report was the risk score. Every company is going to have one of these. It goes in our system very simply from 1 to 100, okay? 1 is the worst score a company can have. 100 is the best score, meaning that they're very low risk. You can also see it if you look here in the score limit tab that we're on right now. You'll see it breaks down from very low risk all the way down to no score or recent bankruptcy. And you can see kind of what category this company falls into. So you'll notice that this company in particular has a 64 risk rating. They fall into the low risk category from 51 to 70. All right. And then if you hop over to the next section there, you'll see credit limit. The credit limit with CreditSafe is very conservative. So what we do is we just take everything we know about the company, their overall history, even industry demographics go into this, and we let you know what we think you would be good to extend this company on a first-time basis, but it's a maximum of. So you don't want to go over that credit limit, but you should be good to get paid anything underneath that, okay? And then we do as well, I don't know how many of you guys are internationally based, but we do as well have international scores on every report because we're so big globally. So if you're ever curious, you want to see kind of how they stack up, that B there, it goes from A to E if you look over by the scores. So this company is in a B range, which again, pretty much matches their risk score overall, so they are a low risk. And as well at the bottom, you can obviously see, again, that color scheme that we provide there for you to break it down and just make it easier on the eyes to take in all the information. So
now, Sierra, I'm going to jump in here. Maureen is saying that her reports don't look like this, that the numbers are different and everything. So we'll go back to what it could look like here. Hang on 1 second, folks. We'll get back to it. And is there a reason that a particular report might look a little different than what you're showing here?
Yeah, actually, so we currently have 2 types of reports, but they're essentially the same, except that the second report is just an additional feature. So this should be on your report in a score limit tab. If you kind of look at the top of the presentation here, you're going to see a bunch of tab breakdowns where there's summary, score limit, payment data, et cetera. This is on this score limit. If a company has a rating or score, it should be on every report in its own tab. You won't see it on the summary page. You'll see it on its own tab.
If you are seeing something different than what we're showing you right now, either because of an update or of just something that you've got that's a little bit different, please reach out to your account rep and we'll get you squared away. It might be that you're seeing the exact right thing and you just need a little bit more information and we can talk through it. But this is kind of the base level setup and everything like that.
Yep, I apologize. I just cut out there for a second.
Yeah, not a problem.
But we have additional information on this report just to answer Maureen's question that will include financial payment data. So there's some additional information there, but overall the report should look a little like pretty much the same.
Okay, awesome.
All right.
Yeah, let's keep on rolling here.
Yeah, let's head back to the payment data section. All right. So trade payment dashboard, this is obviously a very key section for many companies when making a credit decision. So this information is strictly coming from trade. Just like references, if you guys were to be calling different companies, finding out how much credit they're being extended, the last time they had some credit with the company, this is all of that, but in one place and just a lot more information typically. So you're going to notice in the top left-hand corner here under the trade payment dashboard section that we have the days beyond terms section here too, just like up in the dashboard. Days beyond terms lets you know how many days past a company is on an invoice, okay? So imagine that 0 is there right now, so we're saying that this company is paying on time, but imagine that's a 10. You want to take that 10 and add it to the days that you're going to be providing the company, whatever terms you're giving them. So if you're giving them 30-day terms and it's a 10, they're paying in 40 days. I hope that makes sense. If you actually jump 2 over, we also let you know how many different companies are reporting in on this company that you're looking at. So total trade lines, we're showing you that for this particular company in general, we have 2 companies reporting in, okay? And just so you know, next to this is the active trade lines. I really like this feature because it's letting you know that this information is up to date. So that means that this company was reported in on within the last 3 months, okay? And obviously it breaks down the information a bit more. You can see the total balance, the amount that they have extended in total at this moment. You can see the last time they were reported in on as making a payment by a vendor, and average credit, all of that stuff is broken down for you in trade. All right, so obviously that's going to make a big impact on your credit decision because you can see if the company is going to be paying very late, if they're on time, and you can obviously use the average credit amount or the total balance in part of your decision to give them credit. Another factor that you want to take into consideration on these reports is going to be legal filings. One thing I want to let you guys know right now is that we do keep the information on our reports for a little under 7 years. So if a company does file for a form of bankruptcy, you're going to see it on the report. If they have a lawsuit or any kind of tax lien, even if it's been satisfied or released, you're going to see it on the report. You'll know that it happened. The really cool thing about this is you can see here, obviously right off the bat, that there's a summary, and we're letting you know this company's never filed bankruptcy. They have had a judgment. They don't have any lawsuits, but they do have some tax lien filings. And if you're going to see, if you see a lot of lawsuits, if you see a high number of UCC filings, you might want to look a little bit more into that and use that when making a decision for credit checks or for your customer. So most recent filings as well, we do break down the information. You can actually see once you click on, you can't see it right now, but once you click on a federal tax lien or something like that, you can see where it was filed, the jurisdiction under it, the time period, all of that information is there for you. Company details is another tab within our reports. Obviously, we show you a little bit in the overview like I had showed you before. However, you can also utilize this tab to learn a little bit more about the company. You can actually look up their corporate record through us, and you can see, you know, if they're profit, nonprofit, what their SIC code is or NAICS code. You can see their estimated annual revenue, how long they've been in business. Obviously, that's going to be a pretty big determining factor too if a company is a lot more stable if they've been in business for a while. So this is a really good aspect to take a look at or tab to view. Something that is, it pertains really only to CreditSafe. This is what makes us a bit different than a lot of other companies, is our possible links feature. Now, this is great because what we do is cross-reference our entire database. So obviously right now we're looking at a fake report. You're not going to see really any kind of matchups here, but we cross-reference our database for anything that could match or overlap. So for example, if this company had if there was another company with another name, different phone number, but they had the same address of location as this company, you would see here that there's a possible link. The reason this is important is because we're letting you know we don't know if this company is actually affiliated with the company you're looking at. However, they could be, so just pay attention, keep an eye out for it. This could be a company that maybe is running separately, but they have the same owner and they're not actually linked up legally, but they're at the same address and running out of the same building, okay? So this is a great tab because you can utilize it to see how the other company is being ran, and that can also impact your credit decision on this company in particular. And then if you are working with a company that is part of a group structure, this is going to be very beneficial for you because you will be able to see all of that information here. Instead of having to go search up the company or search up the group company or the holding company or the branches or whoever you want to look at, you can actually see a lot of the information right here. So it will tell you what countries they're in as well, the holding company, and there's even a link in our system to be able to visit that report if you want. But the basic details or information are there for you as well if you want to go ahead and take a look at it all off the bat and just know that, all right, the group company has an 84 rating, for example. Then you can say, I'm good to work with this company. Obviously, you can see that our group company is Attest International. So, and you see that maybe this company has 3 legal counts, so you're going to want to focus more on this report in particular. All right. So that's pretty much a really brief overview of the credit reports and the information that you can utilize to make a credit decision.
Great stuff. Thanks, Sierra. We do have a couple of questions that have come in, and I want to make sure that we get those answered. The first one, and I'm just going to answer this for you, Sierra, because this is more in my wheelhouse than yours. We've had a couple people asking, can they get this another time? Will this be sent out? Is it going to be recorded? Those type of things. Yes, we record all these webinars. All of our webinars that we do are available on our YouTube channel, Credit Safe USA, but also on the Credit Safe website. So if you go to creditsafe.com, go to the B2B guide that's in the upper right-hand corner. One of the you're going to see, as soon as you hit that, you're going to see webinars. So you'll have an opportunity to look and look up all of the different webinars that we have done over this year, and you'll be able to see every last one of them and listen to all of them right there. So for anybody that wants that, you'll have that. Now, if you're in the webinar today, or you had a colleague that couldn't make it, but they registered for it, it will also be emailed out to them in the next day to 2, within 2 business days. We will send a follow-up email that will have a link to the recording and some additional information about this that you'll have. So that'll come right to your email, whatever one you used for registering for this webinar. So hopefully that answers that question. Another question here, if a single owner has multiple companies, does that show up?
So because we have 2 different tabs, so it should. So if you have an owner of a company, say they are linked to company A and they're linked to company B, it will either show up in the possible links tab, or it should show up in an officer tab, or it will show up in the group tab. So one thing we didn't go over is when there is an officer linked to a company, like say Alphabet Inc. is owned by John Jones. You can actually click on John Jones' name in the report. There's an officer tab that'll show that, and then it'll show John Jones linked to any other companies as well. And then, like I said, if there's any other cross-referencing, say that company A and company B have the same address or even the same telephone number, it will show up and you'll see that there's a possibility to be linked there. If they are legally linked, if we know for a fact, given our research and our data partnerships, that they are affiliated or that maybe one's a subsidiary, then that will be under the group tab that we went over last.
Okay. There's a couple of questions that kind of have the same idea here. Does this work for franchises? Basically, is this, if it's a franchise, are you gonna is it gonna just go to like corporate headquarters for whatever franchise it is, or is it gonna use each location and then show back that it is a franchise?
That's a good question. So off the top of my head, like for example, Arby's being franchised, you can go ahead and click on a location for an Arby's report, say in Massachusetts or wherever you want to look at it. And then in the possible links tab, because franchises are not owned by the exact same person necessarily, those will be under the possible links tab. If it were a corporation, it would be part of a group, and then therefore you would see it in the group tab.
Okay, great stuff. Somebody's asking, is there further training on this, or was this all that we have?
Any questions you guys have, please ask me. I love to hear them, and we are always good to do more trainings if you need more, if you want to understand a little bit more.
Yeah, and I'll add just a little bit to that. There are a lot of opportunities and trainings, and whether it's a blog post or an article or a video or a webinar or what have you on our website, there's a lot of them there. But the most specific thing that you can ever get that it'll be personalized just to you is to call your account rep. If you don't know who they are, my email is attached to this webinar. Please send me an email. I will get your account rep to contact you, and you can get some individualized, personalized training with them for any questions that you might have about any of this. Got another one here. If a business is operating within another business, a concession type, will it be noted?
Yeah, when you say a section type, I'm assuming you mean like a subsidiary or something like that. Then actually, it would be.
It was concession type. So I'm assuming, something like a hot dog vendor at a baseball park that's, it's a subsidiary of the other company is what I'm assuming. Maurice, if you want to expound on that, let me know, send a little bit more there, but we'll answer it from that perspective.
Okay. So yeah, if it's legally owned, if it's legally a subsidiary, then it should be in there as part of the group structure. But say it's like a brand of the company, they're not necessarily like their own other company, then they probably wouldn't even at that point have really their own credit report or be linked to that company. I hope that answers that question.
Okay, so he sent a little bit more here. He said like a cell phone desk in a supermarket. So yeah, something that's, for instance, there's a lot of coffee vendors that now are in, whether it's a department store or a supermarket or something like that. Will we show the link there, or is it two totally separate things?
It's two totally separate things. So similar to like having a pharmacy within a supermarket to like CVS within a Wegmans. It's two totally separate entities. You would want to figure out who that separate concession is owned by, and then you would want to look up their report, as well as if you're doing business with them within that section, you want to look up their report. But then if you're it's Wegmans and CVS, then you want to look up Wegmans corporate.
Gotcha. Great. Question here: how is the max credit limit determined?
So the maximum credit limit, that's a great question. We take into account, there's algorithms behind the scenes when it comes to the data team and how they really determine this, but we take into account the overall industry demographics. So to give you an example, the trucking industry is a little bit, they tend to be later on payments as a whole. It's a riskier industry as a whole compared to other industries. Or for an example, the real estate market, if that takes a hit, everybody in the real estate market automatically is more at risk. So we know those things based off of different research that we do, and then we take that and put that into the credit limit, along with the companies that you're looking at, their actual history. So if we have trade on them that they're paying late constantly, that's obviously going to impact their credit limit, and we're going to recommend a lot lower of a credit limit, if any. If the company is very big like Google and they've been around for a long time and they've had pretty good payment terms throughout and have just a very stable business, we're going to recommend a lot higher of a credit limit. So to answer the question, it is industry standard as well as the company's history and demographics that we have on the report.
Right. Yeah. There's quite a few factors that go into each of them. That's why each of them's unique. But Sierra is exactly correct on those factors all combined will give a standard credit limit. And I think you even mentioned it. We try to do our best to be on the conservative side of things on this algorithm. It's designed
Yep.
to be somewhat conservative to help do that. And it's just a recommendation from us. It is nothing that we're demanding that you have to do or should do. It's definitely a recommendation of what we would expect you would do based on the information.
Yeah, generally speaking, if you see the report is in green and that they have like a $10,000 credit limit, we're saying as a company that you will get paid if you're giving them anything up to $10,000 within the terms you provide them.
Right. And speaking of terms, I have a question here on terms. Is there any type of recommended terms that are offered on any of the reports or anything like that? Is it like, whether we say, oh yeah, do this net 30, do it net 90, or, payment on delivery, payment in advance, pay ahead of time? What is it? Do we have any of that on any of the reports?
That's a good question. So what we do as a company is we take the days beyond terms and we use it as a dollar weighted average. So what that means is that all of the companies who report into us, some of them do report in that they have 30-day terms with their companies. Some of them report in that they have 45-day net terms with their companies. Terms are going to be different based on what you prefer normally. Obviously, the standard is a net 30 most of the time. That's the standard. So as long as there is a DBT there, so say the DBT is a 0, we're saying that within those terms, if you give them 30-day terms, you should get paid on time. If there's a 10 or 15, you're probably going to be expected to get paid a little bit later than that. So just know that, take that into consideration when making your credit decision. Maybe even extend your terms a little bit for them so that you will then get paid on time, so to speak. When it comes to breaking it down individually to give you a particular recommendation of the days of net terms, we don't actually give that. We leave that up to the company. But you can use that knowing that with the DBT, it's going to apply to whatever terms you give them. That's how it works with those reports.
Okay. We've got another question here, and I'm going to read it to you. Do you follow up with the customer that made an inquiry to find out their experience with their client to get an update on credit or collection and how it all went?
Are you asking if we follow up? If I'm assuming the question is, do we follow up with the customer if they had to collect on another account?
Yes, on whether or not that credit was, the credit that was extended was correct, or if the collections were done or whatever is what I'm reading here. Yes.
Got it. Okay. So if that's a good question. If you ever pull up, like, say you're pulling up a credit report on a company and you're not quite sure how you feel, we will look into it for you. You can actually do like a dispute, so to speak, and you can have it checked on to make sure that it really is up-to-date information. We have some things in place that will make, like, for example, when a company is reporting in their trade to us or their payments to us, their AR, they can do it on like a monthly basis. They can do it on a weekly or bi-monthly basis, depending on what they choose. So if you're pulling up a report and you're not too sure, we can look into it, but there is an option to be able to, when you're a customer of CreditSafe, say it's your own payment and you don't feel that that's correct, they can then go back and double check that for you.
Yeah. And just to further on that, that's where, definitely even more detailed data comes from is from our clients, where they're providing us that data on who's paying and what's being paid and how it's being paid and all those type of things. That gives us an even clearer picture of a particular company's, credit picture and how they act in their payment history and all of that. So for all of you out there that are CreditSafe customers already and would like to do that, we have that it can be automated, it can be easy, or you can send it in, like Sierra was saying, at regular intervals, so that you can report out and then people are reporting on you as well to make sure that everything is going well and that you get credit for those things that you're paying well, or giving credit to those companies that are paying well. So I've got time for about 2 more questions here. Here's one of them. Are there automatic alerts on customers in cases where the recommended credit limit has changed?
That is a great question, and I'm really glad you asked that, because the answer is yes, and we please ask that you use them. So there is when you pull up the report, there's a monitor option on that dashboard, and you can actually go through with your account manager, by the way, and set this up like one time for all of your customers. So you have the ability to choose what you are notified of. You can sit there and say, I really don't care if my customers report if their score changes 1 point overnight. I don't care. But then you can say, well, if their DBT jumps from 0 to 10 overnight, I want to know that because something's up. So you're going to monitor those reports as soon as you click on that, and then you will receive email alerts when those things change with your customers. And then you can go back and look at it and kind of alternate your decisions or everything from there.
Absolutely. And I'll give a little other plug for our webinars. We did a webinar on that about 2 months ago, I think it was now. Christian Fenstermacher did that for us. He presented that for us. So that is on the website. And if you would like to go ahead and listen to that, watch that, and it takes you step by step on how to do that. And then, like Sierra was saying, if you need any more help, please contact your account reps. So at that, I'm gonna wrap this up. And Sierra, thank you so much for being with us. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day and going through this with us. And for all of you that joined us, thank you so much. My name is Nathan Cobb. I am happy to help you in any way as I can. If you want to reach out to me, I will get you to the right people that'll give you all the details you need. And if not, I look forward to seeing you at our next webinar, which is next Tuesday, so a week from today, July 7th. And it is all about getting value out of a portfolio review. That's an integral part of what we do here and an integral part of our Stay Safe program. So it's been great being with you. We look forward to it. Have a great holiday, and we'll see you next time. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.